I've not touched a OnePlus device in a while, so I'm pretty excited to test out the OnePlus 12. I'm also pretty eager to know, does OnePlus still make flagship killers? Good day, you beautiful people. Welcome to LAZADA's Tech, where we do tech in your life in style. In today's video, the OnePlus 12 is in the house. And you know the drill. For our first look, I'm going to be unboxing this phone. I'm going to do a quick camera tour. I'm going to show you some sample shots. And I'm also going to be talking about what's new with this phone, what you're getting. And we'll try to figure out a few things. Like I said, is this a flagship killer? Are the cameras good on this OnePlus device? All of my burning questions, but first, let's unbox. So, what's new with the OnePlus 12? First off, we're getting this very interesting color. I mean, you guys know that I love my pink phones, but this isn't bad either. I love how this whole color variation just gives a spunky look to the OnePlus 12. Definitely, this means that this phone isn't a boring black slab. Of course, this thing is being powered by a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and all that really means is that what's powering this thing is at par with today's flagships, which again is very flagship killer of OnePlus. Aside from the powerful chip though, this thing has a new cooling system which supposedly is even better. So for the gamers out there, that's good news. And then of course you get that Pro XDR screen with 4500 nits of brightness. And that's pretty fun. The OnePlus 12 has what's called Aqua Touch, which means that when your hands are wet, it basically means better handling on that phone screen. Which I know initially you're gonna think, why would I be handling my phone when my hands are wet? But you guys, we all know it happens. So this thing features a 4500 milliamp hour battery, which should be good for all day use. But what's cooler is that this thing has 100 watts Super VOOC fast charging. And if you're not new to the channel, I've talked about this like way back. Super VOOC is Oppo's fast charge technology, and I would say one of the best in the business. Again, remember that whole thing where OnePlus and Oppo like has the same R&D now. But moving on, OnePlus now claims 0 to 100. This means pretty fast charging times. Now, depending on the region you're at in the US, this 100-watt fast charging will basically be 80 watts because of the voltage situation. Either way, that 80-watt fast charging still means 0 to 100 in 30 minutes. That's like 0 to 100 as you take a shower, for context. Now, I want to talk about the cameras on this phone, but before that, let's take a closer look at this device. This really is such an interesting look on a OnePlus device, and that is a matte back. When you look at it closer, you'd see that that's better for your fingerprints. We get that camera module on the back, and you can see Hasselblad branding on it, and pretty huge cameras as well. Up top, you get a pretty clean top. That's an IR blaster, by the way. At the bottom, you get speakers, you get your USB-C charging port, your SIM tray. On the right side, you get your unlock button and volume rocker, and on the other side you get that OnePlus toggle that gives you your silent, your vibrate, or your ring mode. Up front, that is one very snappy screen, and yes, that is still a curved screen, which personally I love. You also get a punch hole selfie camera up top. Personally, I actually really love how nice and classy this OnePlus 12 looks. We're now moving on to the cameras, and see, I know you guys know that I'm always excited for smartphone cameras, and I will say one thing, OnePlus has always been, to my mind, very powerful devices, but historically, cameras were just okay performance. Now, I think that might just be changing because I have had my hands on the OnePlus Open, and the cameras on that thing are So that's why I'm excited to test out the cameras on the OnePlus 12. Now specifically on that triple rear setup, this thing reps a 50 megapixel main shooter with a sensor that's co-developed by Sony, and of course this main camera also has OIS. Second, there is a 64 megapixel periscope camera that can do a 3x zoom, and then you have the third camera, a 48 megapixel wide. Anyway, let's do a quick camera tour. Let's get to the camera. So first off, we are under photos. You have a wide, you have a 1x, you can do 2x, you can do 3x, you can also do 6x, and you can zoom in up until 120x. Now back to 1x, and then up here you get many different filters for your photo, so you have a lot of choices on here. And then on the other button you get a retouch mode, and you can also toggle intensity with a retouch mode. Up here you have your exposure settings, so you can switch that around depending on your preference. You also have your action mode, which is good for fast moving objects or subjects, and you can do wide up until 3x, but no more than 3x. And then you can also add filters on here. There is also a retouch mode here, and of course you can toggle intensity. Up here you get your different settings, including size or HDR settings, and then on the right the portrait mode that gives you 1x, 2x, 3x up until well, it can only do up until 3x, and of course you can toggle the depth of field, meaning you can change the blurriness in the background, the bokeh itself. Now you also get, of course, your different filters on portrait mode, and you get also the retouch mode as well. Now under videos, you see that there are different resolutions you can shoot in with this, so you can do 1080p, 30 or 60 fps. So on 30 fps you can do wide, 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, wait no, that's 6x, sorry, up until 18x, and then back to 1x. You also get your aperture settings on video, so this means you can blur the background, you have different filters, and you also have a live retouch mode for video. Now here you see that there is an HDR toggle for video, and on this mode you can only do up until 6x. You also get an ultra steady mode. Now you can also do 60 fps, 1080p, and that'll allow you to go wide, 1x, 2x, 3x, 6x, and you can zoom up until 18x as well. You get the same portrait mode settings, but as you can see, it did switch from 1080p 60 to 1080p 30 fps. Now on 4K you can do 30 fps, and you can do the same zooms up until 18x, and you can also do portrait, but that also only switches to 1080p 30 fps. You get the filters, you get your different retouch modes, but all of these switch to 1080p 30. Just a quick reminder. Now even on ultra steady mode, you do switch to 1080p 30 fps. Now you can do 4K at 60 fps as well, and you can do wide, 1x, 2x, 3x, 6x up until 18x. But again, that portrait mode switches to 1080p 30. Now you can also do 8K on this, and it does 24 fps, but there's no zooming in or out on this mode anymore. You also get your portrait mode, which again downgrades to 1080p 30 fps, and you also get the same things, filters, and the retouch mode downgrades to 1080p 30 fps as well. Now you get a pro mode on this phone, which allows you to toggle between like the different settings on your camera and shoot with those. And this does wide up until 18x as well. Back to 1x. And now under more, you also have all these different features, which include the expand mode, which is part of that Hasselblad camera partnership that OnePlus has. Right, now to the sample photos. And that was our first look at the OnePlus 12. Again, of course, I just unboxed this phone, but on paper and at first glance, well, at first unbox, I can say that this is definitely seeming like a flagship killer, and I'm excited for the cameras on this thing, which is a lot because that's not something I would usually feel for OnePlus devices. That being said, let me know what other videos you'd like to see me shoot with this phone. If you want a camera vlog test or a social media test, comment down below. That's it for today. If you want to see how I use my tech on a daily basis, find me online. That's LAZADA_ on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Till next time.